Hello and welcome to the Championship Talk podcast. I'm your host Paul O'Toole, and not joined with me is my co-host Thomas Falco. Unfortunately, I struggled to even get my own schedule clear to be able to record, so we were never going to be able to record together. But we will be doing that in the new year, and we will nail down a regular time. But we do have a lot of news to talk about. I'm going to start with QPR's home game to Sheffield United. That will not be going ahead tonight, and that's the 13th of December. That is due to QPR informing the EFL that it does not have sufficient playing staff to be able to fulfil the fixture. This will be subject to an investigation, as all games are that are postponed due to COVID. So that is the process. Obviously, we also know that Tottenham have had 2 games postponed, one to Rennes and then one at the weekend to Burnley. One of Rennes and Brighton. And also breaking news that Manchester United's fixture to Brentford may also have to be rearranged due to COVID outbreaks. So we know that obviously this is going to start impacting the football fixture list at possibly the busiest time. So this is when we have the most fixtures. We've got the FA Cup in about 3 or 4 weeks' time. And Thomas would love to talk about the FA Cup draw. We are entering that period of time where there's the most games in a small space of time. Last year, I think we got off very lightly. I think it was just there was just one team that really struggled to fulfil fixtures. I think we're going to see more due to when you look at the government announcements and the reintroduction. And move on to our second news article: the reintroduction of COVID passes for any seated sporting venue with more than 10,000 people scheduled to attend. So that starts on the 15th of December. So the first game actually to be effective is Arsenal's game to West Ham. I know not championship related, but obviously that's the first one. And that will require every person, whether they've been double jabbed or not, to have a COVID pass to prove that they've got some sort of protection against COVID. So that's going to be something that is enforced from the 15th. So anyone that's due to attend a championship fixture over the weekend, make sure you've got your app and then you've been double jabbed, tested, etc., whatever the guidance are at your specific club, because obviously they will be notifying you probably via email that those guidance are taking place. Obviously, we've also had a number of high-profile footballers, and again, not specifically related to the championship, but a number of high-profile footballers that play for Bayern Munich that were not vaccinated. Kimmich, who's come out and he's got complications related to COVID, wasn't vaccinated. So again, I would implore anyone that's not vaccinated to get vaccinated for your own protection, for those around you. Anyone that's able to have a booster, that's the government's plan. Make sure you do that, because that will mean that we hopefully don't need to enter any more lockdowns, and we don't go back to not having spectators at sporting venues, which none of us want to see. We don't want to go back to this time last year when we're having piped in noise, etc., because that's just not, that was done for people's protection, and rightly so. We just hope that we avoid that situation again, if that is possible. So, moving on to championship news. Preston, since I last recorded, they sacked head coach Frankie McAvoy. Frankie McAvoy was promoted internally when Alex Neil was relieved of his duties. Pretty went under the radar, low profile appointment. I think I said at the time, me and Thomas talked about it being a stopgap appointment till maybe they get the right man. I think results. Preston are a team that are looking upwards. They want to be an upper mid-table side in this championship that has hopes of playoff ambitions. They haven't looked like that, certainly not in the first part of this season. They have got better, but that was from a low bar. They've appointed Ryan Lowe. For those of you who don't know, he was Plymouth Argyle Plymouth Argyle's boss. He's had an interesting career. Plymouth Argyle, for those of you that don't follow lower football, actually didn't play bad football, and I actually think that's going to be an interesting appointment. I do like it when clubs, if you're going to look for a left field appointment, down the leagues at managers that are doing well in League One and League Two, because those leagues are equally as difficult as the Championship. When clubs look abroad all the time, sometimes it can, you don't know, and if you don't know enough about the league you're looking at, you potentially don't gauge what that manager brings to the table for your team. And when you look at someone from League One and League Two and that have been through similar challenges in terms of working within a financial structure, you look at the teams in and around that competitive nature, the amount of games, etc. Managing, part of being a manager at championship level is not always about just going out and finding a superstar player that you can put in your team. It's about managing the training of your team to be able to adapt to your next opponent with only 3 days notice. So you're going from playing on a Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday. When you've got that type of fixture schedule, the man management of those individuals, how you develop players, that time is less. You look at some of the more European leagues, very rare to have midweek fixtures, or if they do have midweek fixtures, they don't play the weekend. Some of the leagues you look abroad, they actually have a lot smaller league, 16 teams. Some of the leagues abroad where you're not playing as many games, which means you've got more time to prepare, which does affect a manager's coaching style and strategy. Because if you've got time to a week and a half to prepare your team for a specific game, you can prepare for specific corner setups, you can prepare for specific patterns of play. You know, a team could press high, they could sit deep with 2 banks of 4, etc. And you can work with a team practicing how to counter certain types of rhythms of play. When you only got 3 days and one of those days is a rest day because you just played a game, that's very different. And managers like Neil Warnock have become very, very adept at managing players within a very small window of time on a training field. And I think that that's a skill that is shared in League One and League Two. And that's why a manager that has worked in those leagues and worked under those same type of environments can potentially be really, really good. Not saying that Frankie McAvoy was a bad appointment, because he wasn't. Obviously, Preston want to go in a different direction, and I think Ryan Lowe, with his experience, I think will bring that. When you look, Preston's statement read, the club are delighted to announce the appointment of Ryan Lowe as a first-team manager. Ryan will take over of immediate effect, joining from Plymouth Argyle, where he guided promotion from League 2 to League 1, and they currently sit 4th. So when you look at that, that's someone who's got a team promoted from League 1, they've taken a step up, and actually, Plymouth Argyle sit 4th in League 1, which, you look at him as an up-and-coming manager. Obviously, different team. Going to be interesting to see how that works out, but I do think that's an interesting appointment, and he's going to be a good addition to this league. So that's it from me. Next week we'll be looking at the news and preparing for the transfer window. As always, if you want, I will be going through the midweek, the weekend's fixtures that have just gone, obviously minus the QPR Sheffield United fixture, where I'll go through all the goals, league table, and look at the fixtures for the weekend ahead. So that's goodbye from me, and that would be a goodbye from Thomas if he was here, and we shall speak to you all next week. Bye everyone.